And I would like. It's 4:30. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call our New Bern Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting. First, we're gonna start with the roll call. Commissioner Bengal, Commissioner Blackman. Yeah. Commissioner Coghill, Commissioner Copeland,
Here.
Commissioner King,
Here.
Commissioner Reddick. Here, we have a quorum. Awesome. Do we have any public comments? I understand we do have one.
Yes, we have, Ms. Ford.
Ms. Kaufman.
Yes. Good afternoon, board. I'm hope you're having a good day. I just have a few questions and I appreciate some answers. What is the status of the environmental assessment? Has that been completed? Second question is, it was said, this is back a couple of years ago, and at least one of the members of this board was in the meeting in 2022. It was said the board directed the city manager, the board of aldermen directed the city manager to respond to the no-vote in 2022. Was this done in a closed session, and what was the outcome of that? If you happen to know, did the city or the housing authority apply for an implementation grant at that time? If so, when? And who has a copy of that? I've been trying to get this information for a while, so you can help me. Did it include the demolition of the flooded units only, or the entire Trent Court? And that's the implementation grant that did happen. The application from is the housing authority certified to manage tax credits? And if so, when did you become certified? What is the status of the empty houses on Mulvellamy? And have you had a conversation with last year it was said that you all had to get the board of aldermen on board to move forward with this Choice Neighborhood Implementation Grant. Did that ever happen? If so, how many aldermen actually said they agreed to this? And also, what is the city, if they all agree, what is the city's estimated match for this? What's the actual cost gonna be? So thank you for your time, and also lastly, the status of New Bern Towers. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any staff comments? I would like to comment about our last roundtable that we had with our consultants concerning the CNI process, and I'm sure our executive director is going to give us an update. But I would like to just make a comment that it was really well received still in the community. We are still trying and will dispel false information in the community. But we are also extremely hopeful that we will be well prepared and will be successful with receiving the CNI grant. The process has been long and a lot, and so just the experience I'm grateful for. And I just want to say again, our executive director and his staff is doing a great job, a really good job, and I'm thankful. I would like to also say that our local leaders, I would like to acknowledge Alderman Proulx, who has again been there every step of the way. I'm really grateful for the communication between our local government and the housing authority. and other, committees, and stakeholders. And so I can't thank you guys enough. It was really, really successful. And so, next we'll have approval of minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes. As long as I'm present now.
Okay. So we have a motion. Can we have a second? Okay. Questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, good. We'll accept the approval of the minutes as dictated. The next thing on the agenda is the finance report.
Hello. So first up, we have the balance sheet. Does anyone have any questions on the balance sheet?
Shay, if you just mentioned to the other board members what you mentioned in the finance committee that there's a PIH notice and you may be making some changes in the future.
Yes, there was a PHI notice for the interfund, so I will be needing to go into them a little deeper because the PHI notice asks for the interfunds to be done a little differently. One of those things being they want to see payments being made right after, like within a month or so of when the money happens. So there are a few things I need to go through for the interfunds for that PIH notice from HUD.
And I want to point out, you had mentioned the TBC account and I just found it. I just saw where it was, so thank you for putting that on the balance sheet.
Yes. Next up, we have the Ross report. And so there's a few closing items for this for this grant. But is there any questions for the Ross report?
Just mentioned in the finance, the only, for the other board members that were not here, the only other expenses we primarily gonna do for the existing expired loss grant is we contracting with Central to complete the final report, and so that'll be the additional. And then part of the resolutions today is to accept the new grant, and so we'll talk about that when we get them to it.
Next is the Trent Court report. Are there any questions for the Trent Court report? Okay, the next report is the New Bern Towers report. Are there any questions on the New Bern Towers report? Okay. The next report is the cash lead sheet. Does anyone have any questions on the cash lead sheet? The only outlier that I saw for this month is that the FEMA deposit came in for the 277,496. Other than that, everything was pretty month to month. Are there any questions on the cash lead sheet?
And just again, to piggyback on what Shay said, the 277,000 that came in from FEMA, the funds from FEMA are a reimbursement. So we expend those expenses first, and then FEMA reimburses us. So the 277,000 is the first draw reimbursement for some of the CBR architectural or other eligible expenses. So what we do is we send that to North Carolina Disaster Management as well as FEMA. They approve it and then they provide us the funds. So these are all approved by FEMA and submitted back to us. And we have multiple requests in, but this is the first major reimbursement we've received.
Next, we have the grant summary. Are there any questions on the grant summary? As of the last board meeting, we did add in the 2024 CFP grant, which is for the 639,826. But are there any questions on the grant summary? Okay. And the last report is the investment statement as of May 31st, 2025. Are there any questions on the investment statement? Okay. And that was the last report.
Thank you, Shay.
Thank you.
Yes, I forgot. I'm trying to think. I would like to entertain a motion to accept the financial report.
So. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. It's Monday. Any questions? Any opposed? No, I'm sorry. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you so much. Financial report approved. Next we'll have the executive director's report.
Okay, so just to kind of give you all an update, and we have a resolution. One of the resolutions is for me to respond. So back in February of 24, HUD had provided us with a report regarding the 2022 FAWS report. If y'all, with some of the new board members, you all were not here, but so what they did is back at the end of fiscal year 2022, they did a review and the housing authorities were scored based on key factors. One factor is physical, financial, management, capital, fund, late penalty points, yada, yada. And so there's a possible 100 points that could be received at the end of 2022 fiscal year. They did a FAWS review and the authority scored 66 out of 100, which made them not trouble, but substandard. So what we have to do is provide a response to that report, which I've done, and the resolution that you all will approve will tonight just accompanies the report that I'm gonna turn back to them on what actions we're taking as an agency to improve those points. To go from the goal is to go from a substandard to standard to high performing, okay? And so really during that period of time, give you an example, there's a possible 40 points on the fiscal plan. There's no way. So we scored 26 out of 40, but naturally, because at that time, they're still considering the flood damaged buildings as part of our portfolio. So if you come out on site and do a review, you're not gonna score well because those units are still listed. They've now since been classified under disaster, but during that period of time, they were still considered active. So when they get classified as disaster or a mod, they basically, so like if we have a unit that and we'll talk about that next month. But if we have units that people could occupy that we determine it's gonna cost way too much money to fix, knowing that we're gonna be demolishing, we submit a letter to HUD to move those from active to mod. So that way we don't get deemed. So if they came out the next month and say, hey, Pam, your units are not rented, it's not rented because it's gonna cost us too much. But we have to take action to move them from an active available unit to mod. And that means we basically are not rehousing people in those units. So during the period of time when this was done, we scored 26 out of 40 possible points because of that. And then, so that was one of the criteria. And then the other issue was there was 5 points out of 10 in capital funds. If you all recall, there was an issue of expending and committing those funds in a timely manner. And so same thing there. We've addressed those, and my answers in the report addresses that we'll send back to HUD once you all approve the resolution to allow me to respond to it. Any particular questions from any of the board members? I'd be happy to answer.
Reggie, on the top header, it says interim executive director.
Yeah, we're gonna change.
Okay, just want
Yes, sir.
let's change this last.
Yeah, no, we're gonna change that. The other thing, as Chairman Reddick indicated, the CNI process went well based on the last meeting we had. We continue to have tremendous community support for when we have these community functions. Once again, we held it the open house part at Craven Community College, and it was well attended. Now, some people may attribute that to that we provide lunch, but I just think that it's because it's good information. And again, we appreciate the community because it's not just one section of the community that comes out and supports that. Our residents support it greatly when we have the resident meetings, and then the community from all sections of the community have participated as well. So this has been a very engaged process. Our goal is now moving to the final completion stage of that. Hopefully, by August or September, our goal is to come back to the community and present one final big report of all the work that was done, and then allow each of the members that, or people that attend, they can be able to take away final written report of that. Is something that is called a view book that they can keep of all of the findings and all of the recommendations, et cetera. And we're working on that now. We'll give y'all an update as we continue to work with CBR to choose a date in August or September to present. That's primarily the biggest things that I have as relates to some of the questions Ms. Card asked today. What I'll do is work with her as she indicated. She's asked some of those questions. I wanted to have this discussion with you all today, but in particular to one of the questions she brought up is on June 30th, as well as again on July 1st. Our architects will be on the ground at Newbern Towers doing a full assessment of that building and the building envelope, as well as the interiors, to do a complete physical needs assessment of that building as well. So we can come back and have some discussions in the upcoming months on the current conditions and recommendations as it relates to Newbern Towers, as we're going through this process with Trent Court as well. But they will be here on June 30th and July 1st to begin the field work to be able to do a full-blown report for us on Newbern Towers. And then we'll come back and be able to present that to you all as well. And then I'll gladly, based on the question she asked, I'll be working with her to provide detailed answers to each of her questions. And we thank you for your continued questions and support. That's all I have to.
Okay, are there any questions for the executive director from the board? Okay, so I do believe we need a motion.
Nope.
Or to approve, or we just going
We're gonna
to
do that under the resolution.
under the resolution. All right, thank you. So next, we will have our report, starting with New Bern Towers.
Good afternoon.
So,
Okay. New Bern Towers occupancy rate is 94%. We have a tar rate of 23%. We have 3 non-payments. We received 82 work orders, completed 65, and a total of 17. With the police report, we had 7 calls, 1 trespass, 1 drug activity, which no report was done, so someone had called. Okay, 911 hang up is 2 and 3 security checks. And the fire department was called 1 time. Thank you.
what is a security check?
That's when the residents have the police officers, they on the list for them to come and check on them to make sure, every morning, or when they call and they don't answer, you know, come out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've noticed on this one and the next one and the finance report, thank you for giving us some of that information that I know some have been asking.
Sure.
And Sabrina's not even here.
Okay, our next report is, Trent Ford report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, the occupancy rate for Trent Court is 96%. We have 4 vacancies. Our tar rate, for May is 13%. We had 20 for non-payment, 11 outstanding, work order requests. We had 15, police calls and 0 fire reports. Anyone have any questions?
So is the month unpaid, is that just a timing thing for some, you think?
Yes,
Okay.
because by the time we get to this report, more than half has paid.
Sure. Sure.
Miss Pamela,
Yes, ma'am.
can you write that down, the name Dr. Gregory Moore?
Sure. Thank you.
He is the Director of Student Services at Craven County Schools. And he would definitely like to work with us. He has some families that he knows of that are homeless. And there is a liaison that he, would like to give us that person's name so that we can connect.
Okay.
And I've been saying I was gonna get it to you, and I haven't since that meeting, so please, he did not have a card at the time for me to get it, but I'm sure his information is on their website. Please give him a call.
I should
He
be.
definitely would like to work with us.
Okay, Gregory Moore.
Yes,
Okay, doctor.
yes,
Yes, ma'am.
and I need my pen. Okay, Ross program report.
Yeah, we'll receive, the Ross program report for May is just information. And if y'all have any questions, but this will be included in the final closeout report as well.
Okay, any questions about any of the reports on my board? Awesome. And now we'll move on to the resolutions. Okay, so you've already explained the first resolution, resolution number 06.25.01. There any questions or comments concerning that?
And just for you all know, I could have provided a response to HUD without a resolution. But I just think I want to make sure that we're all on the same page and that for full transparency from the board to HUD to the community, that everything that I'm sending to them, that we're working in lockstep together. So I always like for a resolution to accompany that. So in the event there are any questions, nobody can ever wonder if the board is aware of what I'm writing or what I'm seeing or what we're doing. So that's why I'm asking for a resolution to go along with them.
Are we gonna do these individually?
Yes.
So, I'll make a motion, for the resolution
Second.
as stated.
Does he have to say the number?
The topic, so that people know what they're voting on.
Okay,
So.
so you'll need to say,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, for, 062501. I make the motion to approve this resolution.
I'll second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, resolution number 06.25.01 has been approved. Okay, the next resolution, is resolution number 06.25.02. Do you want to explain that one or?
Yes, ma'am. That is just to authorize us to accept the new Ross grant that's been awarded. It will go effective date from June 1, 2025 through May 31st, 2028. We have 60 days from June 1st to hire staff and implement. And we're working on that process now. Excuse me, we're making some revisions to the program goals and objectives to be more impactful and direct with the services we provide to the residents. But this is to authorize us to receive that grant.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 06.25.02.
Second. Questions?
How much was that grant for?
Oh,
Sorry. I know the other ones were pretty similar.
yeah, it's 200 and I think it's 247, something like that. I don't know if it's
20, yeah, okay. So.
um,
The last one was 245.
yeah, I think it's around 245, 247.
Okay. Those approximately.
Approximately the same amount. Yes, so.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Did you have a question, Mr. Copeland?
Oh, no, I was just saying aye.
Oh, okay. Any opposed? All right, so the ayes have it. So resolution number 06.25.02 has been approved. And we have one more, yes, one more resolution.
That is, resolution for the people leave, just to explain that to the board. As part of the CNI process, there's a housing leave, there's a neighborhood leave, and there's a people leave. And the people leave is generally a national firm that has the experience and background of working within the community. They would hire staff, so as you go through this and review the other document that was listed, they would probably hire about 8 community social work type positions to work within the community when we receive this grant. And so they play a major portion, being, if you will, for lack of a better word, the boots on the ground. So that way we will be hiring individuals to work directly in the community in those particular categories. Urban strategies for probably 80 to 90% of the CNI awards that have been given. They have been nationwide, the people lead. So even though they're they're the people lead under contract, they will be hiring local people in those particular positions. And so, because it's competitive and because there's only specific groups that provide this service, that is why there was only one, bidder, on this process, because they handle about 90% of the work under CNI nationwide under the people lead category. The other agencies in North Carolina that have received CNI awards also use urban strategies as well under their grants. So this resolution just authorizes me to enter to be able to enter into negotiations with urban strategies. Then we'll come back with a full contract working with our attorneys at WarDC.
Will we have any say-so on who is hired or the hiring process?
We would not necessarily as much have a say-so, but we would provide some recommendations to them of good people locally that we think would be good to work. And we would identify those individuals and encourage them to apply with urban strategy.
Yeah, that was my question. How was the application process and
Yeah.
how long is it open? And
Yeah, they'll go through that process, but they weigh heavily on our recommendations, even though they're the contractor of record.
Sure.
They will weigh heavily on our recommendations on people to employ for those positions.
And one more question, so this is the first evaluation, through this process or through their contract. Will it be in the contract that we are allowed to evaluate them again?
So we will continue to evaluate them throughout this whole process.
Okay.
Okay, what you all are authorizing tonight is to give me permission with Jamie to begin negotiations on a contract with them that will come back to you all. So this is not a final.
Right.
This is just the first step to allow us to begin to enter into a contract negotiations with them.
Yeah, Chair Reddick, it's really two steps. The first step is a $20,000 grant application contract. If you don't get your grant, you don't get anything else, so there's nothing else to consider. But if you do get the grant, we hope you will, it'll come back for the much larger contract. But that could be 12 months from now.
Understood, I got you, okay.
So you're approving really the $20,000 contract, and then if you get the grant, we'll come back to you for approval of the contract at that negotiation.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board?
I make a motion, we authorize this resolution, number 062503.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, the resolution has been approved. We will now move into closed session. I need a motion. Thank you. To move into closed session
For the purpose of
for the purpose of
personnel
and contracts.
So
and I'll just add, so that we get it right from particulars. But it's 143-318.11A 357 are the statutory reasons for in place.
Thank you, sir. Do I need to say that?
No.
Do we have did someone make a motion? Someone did make a motion, right? And did anyone make a second?
Second.
Okay, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're now in closed session. You're now back in your open position. And, you're now back in open session as there were no changes or no actions taken. So if there are other, items on the agenda, I will entertain a motion to be adjourned. So, anyway.
So moved.
Lexi said, or Lisa said. Okay, any questions? All in favor? Any
Aye.
We are adjourned.